George Page, aka the Emperor of Issues Rap Female Bottom Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Yes, folks, can you believe it? I am excited. I have a few more days left before I head off to Pittsburgh. I gotta get some things taken care of, my luggage. I gotta make arrangements because I'm gonna stay at my sister's house for the first couple of days because the train station is Raleigh. So she lives in Fayetteville. It's a lot closer for me to stay with her than have to drive all the way to Raleigh from where I stay at. It's a lot more convenient, in a way. And I've seen my sister Gina quite some time. I think the last time she came down here was a couple of months ago. And I talked to her from earlier this month. I said, hey, and I'll try to make some arrangements so I can be able to go to the train. Most definitely, I want to make this trip because this is something exciting for me. And just to go to someplace different, and and I appreciate y'all who's been supporting my channel. But the big thing is that my channel hit 7,000 subscribers. Oh, baby. I mean, 7,000. I just I think it was just a little over a month. I hit 6,000. 6,000 subscribers. And I'm at 7,000 right now. And I've been doing this for at least 7 years. So that seems like that's a subscriber for every year. Now, the count has come up a little bit now. I think I'm over like about 7,050 some people now. But I've been so busy, as the show's coming up this weekend, and I'm working on some of that. Also have a couple of, I got an interview I just wrapped up yesterday, and I got an interview I got to do today. And I usually got to get ready for those. And again, I gotta get my shit together. One thing, my clothes and stuff together because I gotta take some clothes with me. Maybe take a couple spares just in case something happens. You never know. And I'm just over the moon because this is something big for me. I'm going all the way up north. It's us Southerns. We call it up north. Everything past the anything past Virginia is considered north. And I remember the farthest I went north was Virginia. That was almost over 20 years ago. I think it was, what was it? If I think it was me, my sister Jean and Mary, and my nieces and nephews. I think it was Gabe, Marlena, Squeaky, and I think did Quanda come on that trip too? I think Quanda was on that trip. Or was it just Squeaky and I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. They were still young. They were still, I think they were still in high school. Had to be, I think before, I think they both were still in high school. Both Marlena and Gabe and Squeaky. It's been so long, Last time I had a trip with my sisters was when my niece Marlena graduated from Fort Jackson, Columbia. That's been a good 27 years ago. Wow. Time flies, folks. Think about it. That's when I was working at the club. But I'm so excited. I am so excited about this venture I'm taking on, and also excited about my channel growing, This month was kind of slow for interviews. These are my last two, like with my interview with Carrie and my interview with Christina coming up today. I mean, it's kind of slow. I mean, I know some ladies are busy. Some probably send them in a prep. Some kind of hesitant, but I do appreciate ladies who do take the time out and do interviews. I'm probably going to pick up some a little bit now because now it's waning down to the season. It's about Olympia time. And those who are not qualified for Olympia or not prepping for a show might have the time to jump on and talk about their themselves. I remember one time I was almost felt like I was going to have at least 4 interviews, and I think I'm going to finish off with 6. It's kind of low for me. I usually try to get 10 or 12, at least 10. And then I had 1 week when I had nothing, and then I had 1 week I had a couple here and there. But you know what? I appreciate the ladies who took the time out and to come share their stories with me. Talk about themselves, and also have fun entertainment. We talked to Carrie. She enjoyed our interview, and I enjoyed having her on. It's great to have a fellow North Carolinian, do interview with. Some ladies, like I said, I've had quite a few ladies who that live in North Carolina, and some who are North Carolinians by birth. It's great to talk to someone in my home state. Maybe a situation where I might meet Carrie someday in the future. Hope I'd like to go to more shows, but there's some things that are going on right now because finances that I don't want to go in details right now. But I am really excited about this. Going to Pittsburgh. It's a seat of power. The Manions are there. Jim Manion, Jim Manion, and also Tyler Manion. They're the heads of the JM is more like he does photography stuff, but he has a foot in the thing. And this is the Gary Udis show. Gary Udis is probably one of the biggest promoters around, next to Tim Gardner and Steve Weinberger. He helps promote quite a few shows, and these two shows, the North Americans and the Masters World Championships, are his babies. He has only maybe a couple of pro shows he promotes. He mostly does a lot of the amateur stuff. There's money in amateurs because they pay to play, so you make your money from that. And if you do pro ams, well, South man Big Keith, pro ams is the way that sometimes pay for the pro shows, because those competitors, you got to think about it. I remember that I did an interview with China Milton. In China, she got a pro card back in USA's, and I think it was like in 2024, and that was year they had like over 600 bikini competitors. So you got to think about it. That's 600 women probably doing, and the universe, they do open and masters divisions. So you making some change. You making hand over foot on that show. So and it's probably was covered the cost of some of the New York Pro. New York Pro is the only show that I think that's the only shows. New York and the Universe are the only two shows that Steve Weinberger has. He don't promote any other shows that I can think of. But Tim Gardner, he spread it out. He has most of the shows in Florida. Then he has Chicago, and he has a show in San Antonio. He has a show now he has the Puerto Rico Pro back. So he's kind of spread out. And I get Gary's mostly just in Pittsburgh, but he does promote the Ben Weider Natural Classic. He posts that, which is both for a pro am and is a pro am, which is professionals and amateurs. The time is going by fast, folks. Can you believe it? I'm looking at the calendar right now. Today is Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday, and tomorrow will be Friday. And I'm leaving Sunday because my sister's gonna pick me up on Sunday, stay at her house for a couple of days, and then leave that Wednesday because my train leaves that Wednesday morning. So I'd rather catch you. You don't want to, maybe I should have took it a later day, but what it was, this train's a straight shot. No stopping here, there, other than maybe to pick up people on the way. Like when I took my trip to Tampa, I had to stop and stay at the same train station I went to when I went to Savannah to catch Savannah Pro back in 2022. I stayed there for about 5 or 6 hours, to the next train take me to Tampa, another 5 or 6 hours, the next train take me back to South Carolina to go back home to North Carolina. I'd rather take the straight shot. It's a thing. You sit in that, in that train station. Those chairs are hard. You gotta find a place to charge your phone. You can't really sleep. With the train, I can sit and sleep there. I can take a rest. Me might stop just pick up some people on the way or something like that. But that's I generally like that better, where I can get a straight shot with no real stops. So that's why I went with that way, because it's just train. Yeah, I gotta try to, also gotta make sure I gotta get some stuff. So on the train, it's expensive to eat. I remember on the way back, I was hungry, so I bought some food. But it's good that I pick up a little something and maybe pick some on my way back, on my way there. So I won't spend too much money on food. Get a couple bottles of water, I'd be good. Something like something to drink, and a couple of sandwiches, and maybe some snacks. Just to keep because it's going to be at least I would say half a day, almost 12 to 13 hours, by train. Or I can go by plane. But the thing is, planes are expensive. They are expensive, and it costs money, to fly a plane, and then also you have to go through the whole thing with TSA. Oh, I don't think they'll do it. They'll do too much with TSA with trains because they gotta get their security, but not as much as they do with planes. Because planes, it goes back to what happened in 9/11. No one's going to try to drive a plane and blow up something. God forbid. But trains becoming a very least travel. I could go on my bus, but uh, bus. Those bathrooms are small. I'm a big dude, and also it's just you rather take a train. If I know it's longer, but you can move around on the train a little bit. I can maybe stand up a little bit a few times, move around a little bit, and seats just as comfortable. You know, you know. Maybe next time, if I ever go to like someplace like Arizona to check out the Rising Phoenix, yeah, I'll take a plane. Yeah, I'll take a plane. It takes but back to 7,000 subscribers. I like to thank all y'all who supported my channel. I mean, again, I didn't think I'd get this to 7,000 that fast. It's no more than maybe a little over a month when I hit 6,000. And now I'm already at 7,000. That's crazy how fast things go. I mean, I appreciate y'all. Y'all genuinely like my content. You like my work. And you like the time I put into it. And I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy talking about these ladies and interviewing with them and feel like, I'm truthfully, I like to be an advocate. Again, this gives me a purpose. It gives me a purpose because I don't have much. Don't have kids, don't have a wife. The one person I was taking care of, she's been gone for a long time now, and everybody else got their lives and doing things. And I do appreciate my family now and then. Help them out if I need it. I appreciate that. But other than that, it's just me, and I really just appreciate y'all. Like, got a shout out to my man David. He just did an interview with Jennifer Dees. I'm gonna post something on my in my social media later because I was watching a good bit of it, but I said took some time off and I want to do this before I finish up rest of what I was doing. Um, I don't much to say. I mean, doing this, really, just sort of it helped a lot, with stuff that was going on with, especially we did with my mom. I feel like I wasn't completely alone. I did have some help. I appreciate shout out to Carol Locklear, shout out to Sandra, a couple of people that come through every now and then. I appreciate I know my sisters had their lives and stuff like that. I love them. I appreciate them when they could help, when they can. And I love them. They're my sisters, My brother, every now and then, but he did his part as much as he can with in reason. So I gotta give him that. But those are really who I have people told me say, George, you did. I feel like I could have done better. I honestly feel like I could have done better. Some things I wish I'd done better, But that's the thing is, you're always going to have those days where you say, like, you know what, I could have done this, but and that's the thing is, that's about a learning. It's a learning experience. I know there's things you could have done right, could have done better, but you did the best you can in the situation. Especially, when my mom was always the one who took care of just about everything. I was when I'm living with her, I gave her money that she needed bills and money and I get stuff like that. That was, she did like back in the day how husbands come home, they give the wife the check, all I do is sit on the TV and just live enough money so you can have some beer money or maybe go get some a sandwich later. That's how it was, and but I had to step up. I made that choice because I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't, I was just trying to get my disability because the fact what my friend told me because it was hard to find a job. It used to be you used to back in the day you could find a little something on the side every now and then, but things were kind of and most people are kind of hesitant of hiring somebody with a pacemaker. They feel like sometimes you get find the right places. I remember the place I worked at, Smithfield. My mom told me, said, "Well, maybe I'll give you my it's illegal. You should do it, but she said she'd give me her handicapped skipper." I said, "Mom, it do no good because there's people out there that's handicapped that take up parking spaces, and then if they do get off of work, it'd be too late because I got to be on the floor by 2 o'clock. So some people are just getting off at 3, and I'm already on the floor. So but I do appreciate that, Mom. I did. I had to sometimes drive, like I had to park on the dirt. I'm not telling you to Smithfield. They really put out a real parking lot. So it looks like it was when the last time Larry worked last time there. It's been a good while. We used to have to go. He asked me to call him, come pick him up. And I said, "Wow, they really stand. They really stand in the parking lot because we should sometimes park near the little duck pond. We could find a space. One time I got sick. I had to sit until somebody moved so I could get out. You know, but I I just think fondly those days. I also thought I wanted to stay in Smithfield long enough where I can really make some money. I was thinking about maybe down the road, maybe another 3 or 4 years, me and my mom get out of the projects. I get a trailer or a house, and we'll stay there because But things happen for a reason. Like situation just saw. Gotta give shout out to Tim Curry. He just passed away yesterday too. Uh, it's crazy how we have here. I'll put this like this: 3 people who are 80. Two of them just died, and one is still living who shouldn't be living. Honestly, God, I know you have a reason why you do some things, but sometimes you might take the wrong people at the wrong time. But I remember saying this in my interview with Carrie. When my brother died, someone told us God wanted the best, and they knew my brother was a hard worker, and that's what it was. He wanted hard workers. I think Tim Curry was a talented man. He was a hard worker. He did movies, TV show. He was busy. He was busy, so he needed a hard worker. And he was dealing with. He also I got one thing. My mother was a stroke victim. My sister was a stroke victim, and depending on the severity of it, it can really mess you up. Some people those the I won't say lucky, the blessed few who have stroke and never got as severe like he was. Some people recover really well. My sister, her stroke was really severe. Even one point that I remember when we went to visit her, I had to because I was the closest family relative at the time. I had to sign for her to get a trach in her neck. Because and because of her brother, she had no children, she had a husband, because I was the closest relative, like my mother or one of my other siblings, they asked me to sign, and I was kind of hesitated, but you know what? The doctor just told me what it was and how it was going on. I said, I just will leave in his hands and God's hands. That's all I can do. I love my sister Mary. The last time I saw her was before she passed. She was in the hospital in Fayetteville. It was not hospice Rainy, Cape Fear. Same hospital. I spent like a week in a cardiac unit. And she needed a ride home. My other sister was working, she couldn't make it. So, I wasn't doing anything. And Fayetteville's not too far, it was not too much of a drive for me. So I went up there to get my big little sister because she was a baby girl. So I called my big little sister and picked her up, took her back home. She had a nice house because she got retired. She just retired from the post office. And I said, you know what? I'm going back home. I'll see you. I love you. She gave me a kiss. And yeah, she know it was about a week later, and my nephew came and told me, and I laid in my bed and was crying. I just can't believe that. I went to go pick my baby brother from his job, but as I had some medical issues, and my blood pressure went high. I felt it was going high, and I was in the hospital. I was in Lumberton, and they were going to admit me, but they let me go. I said thank you. I was happy to get let go. Uh, I had some loss. My brother, my sister, my mother, my father, who I did get to see before he passed away. We talked. We made amends between men, a man and a son. I wish I was a little bit more involved in my life. Most definitely, I wish he was. Especially in my teenage years, those times where I really needed someone. But I had my brother James, and I had other men in my life. But I do, even though I might have said some things about it, he was my daddy. And I do miss him. I do love him. But anyway, off of the sad stuff. But I am really excited. You know, I've been talking to ladies online who know that I'm coming there. We're going to try to set up some side interviews. Uh, Also, as you know, next Monday, no Muscle Talk Monday. It's suspended, but I will have one because I won't leave till Tuesday. So I'm going to have Muscle Talk Monday. Um, that day after, we'll talk about Pittsburgh, about Pittsburgh, about these shows, the North Americans and the World Championships, Masters, and just the people I met. Um, because that's Labor Day weekend, got Labor Day on Monday. So if you're someone who's available on that Labor Day, you got the time, you want to sit, and just talk to me and just talk about the experience of being in Pittsburgh. And I appreciate anybody, like shout out to my dear friend Eunice. Um, ooh, I still got it. I got to put it in my bag. My other stuff, my jersey has my name, number 23. That's Jordan's old number. She must be thinking about, Jordan from North Carolina. Actually, Jordan was born in New York, but you grew up in North Carolina. So I appreciate that, Eunice. I do. Mwah. I got to put this in my bag with my other stuff. You know, uh, I don't know what to say. Not much else to say. You um, I don't know. There's a lot that's going on in my mind right now. Uh, Again, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm doing something that I thought I'd never do. This could be my third trip on my own by myself. You know, and back in the day we used to go on little ferry trips together. I know my sisters often, wanted me to go on cruises with them. That's about my mother. She said she wanted me all that water, but I was working to my jobs, and was trying to figure it out. But I should have. I should have. But now I'm traveling, going to places like Pittsburgh and Atlanta and Tampa, Savannah. Am I going to a show next year? Again, it goes back to the financial issues. Um, you know, if someone will happily want to donate, because you can go to mine, you can watch my lives, and you see I have a GoFundMe, a PayPal, and no, I don't have a GoFundMe anymore. I did GoFundMe, but it never worked out. I have a PayPal, and my Venmo. So if you are someone who likes to donate, go watch one of my lives. You can see my Cash App, and I'm also other you know um, money platforms. Because it's gonna cost some change. But I think I'm good. I'm good. But also I'm planning on going on another trip, and this is within my own area. There is coming up a show which is the Queen City in Charlotte. It is a figure and Olympia and Master Olympic qualification show. And you know what? Seeing how things look after this show, where my finances are at a comfortable area, I'm going to check it out because only thing this needs to cover for a rental for a car, and everything else I can take care of. Like hotel fees, because I got to stay for at least a few days. Also the tickets, because I think they won't be too expensive because it's not a big show. So the tickets probably would be within reason. And also, little stuff here and there, like food, gas, uh, you know, just to cover those expensive. But I think I got something taken care of right now that could probably help with that. So I think I'm probably in a good space. But it never hurts to help, you know. Just like I said, the big thing is just the rental for the car. That's really the biggest thing, you know, because it's expensive to you know I just need see my plan is to leave that Friday morning, like probably 7 o'clock down the road. It's in October, so the weather should be good and fine. By then, there's no big holiday, so I have to worry about too much of traffic because October only thing is Halloween, and no one's really celebrating like that. You don't want October is probably a better time to travel because not a lot of too much business and anything going around. Other than and I will try to come back probably I think come back that Monday. Why Monday? Because well, it's like I said again. You know, you don't want to come back on a weekend. Sometimes things could, you want to at least, give yourself at least another day to relax a little bit, enjoy maybe set up some little interviews that Sunday and then hit the road on Monday, you know, and, I mean, like I said, just try to do something different, you know, again, if I can go to other shows, if I can afford to it, I would love to. I know somebody say, "We gonna come. You gonna be here? And, check out my show here." I say, I wish I could. I've already had plans. I was thinking about Atlanta. And I could do Atlanta because my niece is Atlanta, and I can stay with her. and that saves me a cost of motel. And like she can come pick me up because she drives out here so often. Visit her mother, my sister, you know, and she can come pick me up, and drive me back, and I make sure I pay her for the trip there and back, you know. And yeah, I can think about it, just um the tickets are kind of expensive. That's where I save money when I stay with her, cost of tickets, but also, I don't want to bother her driving me around, so I might do Uber or Lyft right there because she lives, I think, south suburbs of Atlanta, and also might get to see my dear friend, lovely Miss Christina Ware, and I see Christina in a while. She's a lovely lady. Hang out at least a couple of times. I met her last year, and I'm thinking she hadn't said, but possibly she might be doing the Masters World Championship. She's done it before. She's done it, like, you remember, she got her pro card in Pittsburgh at the Masters Nationals, the Team Collegiate, and then she made a pro debut a few months later at the World Championships. And that's one of the only few shows that has Masters Women's Bodybuilding. Now, there's a show coming up with Daytona. They don't have Masters Women's Bodybuilding. Maybe you can find some sponsors, but the thing is about the numbers. It's numbers game. There's enough competitors who compete in that division to really represent. And that's the problem is we have quite a bit of Masters competitors who are at the age of who are 50 and over and 40 and over who just want to just do the Open. I understand that, respect that. But I just saw this. I saw Sherry Priyami made an announcement. It was something someone shared with me. It's on post on the Hardcore Female Bodybuilding Media, IG, I believe, that she was thinking about maybe retiring after this year. She's hoping to get a qualification. She missed it at the Rising Phoenix, but I would say to you, Sherry, there is a couple of shows that could probably get it, and I think you should reconsider. In October is the Mexico Pro, and they added women's bodybuilding this year. We need enough ladies to represent at least, let's say, 10 or more ladies, 10 or more. If enough of you come together and jump on that show. And here's the thing is, Mexico, getting there might be expensive, but once you get there, it's not as expensive. You can probably stay in the guest hotel. You probably don't have to, unless you, I don't know about Airbnbs in Mexico, but you can probably stay in the guest motel cheaper than any place because the American dollar can stretch. You can take $1,000 with you to Mexico and you can stretch that. That's going to be almost, I think, about, if somebody can calculate that, you can put it in the post later. Like $1,000 almost around $10,000 in pesos. Because I think it's every peso is like, I think every $1 is like maybe, I remember somebody told me how the money exchange, and I forgot about it, but I think for every peso, it takes a peso to accumulate, I think maybe a 10,000 pesos is like maybe $1, or maybe it's 5. It doubles and triples. And also Brazil is also reasonable. Getting there is going to be expensive, but once you're there, you're okay. But you gotta be careful. There's some spicy stuff that happens in Brazil. Shout out to the coach. He talks about when he went to Brazil, they didn't mess with too much because they don't mess with too many the Black Americans. They mess with more the white people. They will mess with too much the Black people saying you don't have anything, or you feel like you might kick their tail. So they try to avoid you as much as they can. But still be careful. If you go to Brazil, no matter who you are, be careful. But yeah, I mean, and this is why I recommend someone like Amanda Santos. I don't know if she's going to compete this year again because she did get qualification for Olympia last year at the Rising Phoenix, but she didn't take it for personal reasons. I think she should have skipped the Titan Grand Prix, but it's good that we did have some bodies for that show. I would suggest her do that show. That's in your backyard. That's Brazil's your home country, and I think you'd be a good translator and somebody to help out some of the ladies who are coming there. So if you have a passport and you say, you know what, I don't want to wait till next year, and you got at least you got 3 shows within this area. You don't have to go all the way to Romania, and that's the thing is, I think it's going to hurt Romania a bit. But I would say to those ladies overseas, jump on, like Alita, Oprah, Nadia, a couple of other ladies that are overseas. Jump on the Remaining Muscle Fest. Don't, like I say, you're still in good shape, still good conditioning. You don't want to wait to say, I don't want to wait and do a show and wait all the way to get Olympic qualification. Let me get the show out of the way. I can train, I can chill. If I just want to do a show, just do a show, cool. But I would say jump on that show, and so you can at least, you know, um, have some qualification. And that thing is Steve Carr, the Mexico show, Brazil. Those are after Olympic shows. You ladies who get your qualification, you can sit, stew, chill, enjoy the holidays, and you can jump on your prep midway through the year. So, if you put in your application for, you might say, what, let me just put my application for the Rise of Phoenix, and that'd be it. I'll do that. That'd be, other than Olympia, that'd be the only show I do for the year. I would suggest doing that. You want to stay active. You want to stay active, cool. Pick a show where you feel like, what, I don't want to take somebody opportunity to go to, especially where it's by the way, with so few shows. And maybe next year, I hoping maybe they bring me back to Chicago. Maybe not New York. Maybe New York. I don't know. Maybe we get somebody who might want to step up. Shout out to my friend Eunice. As you know, she's also helping with the financial for the Steve Carr show. I am going to watch that show and support my dear friend and sister. I wish I can do more. I did donate some money for the jacket for the Triple O. I was excited about that. But, my finances are not as steady. If I could, I would love to. If I had a way to do it, I would love to, maybe pay for a jacket or something like that. But again, things has changed in my situation that, you know, so, but I'm planning, I will think about, one thing, I would love to go to the Masters Olympia, depending where they have it. And I'm hearing talks, maybe Pittsburgh, maybe Orlando. And I hadn't been to Orlando in a long time. Where we stayed in Kissimmee when we went to Disney World a couple of times. Kissimmee is within Orlando. It's cheaper to stay in Kissimmee than to stay in Orlando itself. I'd probably find a motel reasonable in Kissimmee. And just depending on the venue is at, probably do Uber. I remember one time I missed the bus back home, back to the motel, so I had to get a taxi. And that's it was back then it was reasonable. That's really reasonable back then compared to now. Anyway, I'm excited. Hitting 7,000 subscribers. I wouldn't think I would, 7,000. And you know what? It won't take long to hit maybe 10,000 by next year. I think I might. How fast I get to 7,000, I won't be surprised if I hit 10,000 by the end of next year. I've hit double digits. YouTube want to be monetized, but the thing is, the monetization program, you have to pay to get in. You have to give them money, so I can't afford to give you money. I can't. Every little dollar I scrape and save, I have to. Again, I live on a modest means, and if I can work, maybe something on the side, but it's hard to find that. Used to be, I was working 2 jobs. I worked part-time at a gas station. I was working full-time at a textile plant, part-time at a strip club. One time I only worked 1 job when I was working temp service for a bit because it wasn't so flexible. And the gas station, it would have been hard to work 2 jobs with Smithfield. Oh my God. But I do miss that. Kept me busy. So I got nothing else to say. I would say rest in peace to Dolly Parton, rest in peace to Tim Curry, Michael Wright also passed away. I saw old boy who was in the movies like Players Club and Don't Be a Menace and and some other movies back into the part of the '90s and 2000s. He passed away. I heard he had got a stroke. He was my age. He was 51. He was 52. I'm 51. I'll be 52 in another 2 more months. About in November, and that's why I got this morning. I did my little exercises. I need to most definitely work on my diet. That's the biggest thing I need to work on is my diet. I mean, I got this morning some cookies. But I did drink some water after my workout. Some water. You know, get some lemon, some water. Ow, ow, ow. You know, but folks, I want to thank y'all. All you who support my channel, support my content, who come on and when I do my lives and comment it. I appreciate when I do South and the ladies come through when we do our lives. Shout out to Megan Russell, who was on um last Sunday's live, or this Sunday's live. Bev, who took some time off because she did the Arizona Pro Miss, she did the Miss International. Nicole, I think Nicole's planning on competing um, next year. Eunice, appreciating when my sister come through. I hope her husband, Mr. Wheeler, doing well. My man Big Keith wanted to join in on Monday, but he was going through some stuff. Keith, whether if you do watch this and if you do ever have the time, I miss you. Maybe when you're really better and really good, we can set something up there. I'd love to have you on. I miss you. You and Tina. I enjoyed your conversation. I enjoy when Tina gets mad. and she shuts down Raheem Hamilton. Raheem had to talk, but when Tina comes down, she shuts him down. Raheem, I hadn't seen him in a while, but I know he's married now, so he don't have time for us. But so if you can make some time for us. Saw my man, B. Royce. He's just been busy. He also is at the Rising Phoenix, doing hey, shout out to you, Royce. BC, BC Royce. I say B Royce. It's a country thing. We dropped the other part, but BC. But I go B Royce. So no offense, brother. That's how I am. You country people, sometimes we cut out little words here and there just to make a sentence. But 7,000 subscribers, 7,000 followers. Some of them are women in the sport. Some of our guys who are fans, and some are YouTube sometimes creates bots to give you the numbers. But hey, I take it. I take it as well. But again, I'm hoping maybe set up some interviews while I'm there. Some for like we do some short conversation, and then maybe have some full, good, decent, in-depth interviews when I get back home. So, ladies, I'm coming. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Linux. Nah, he's not Alexander. I'm Alexander. I'm a conqueror. I'm Jack Dempsey. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm a Beckloff. I'm hungry. I'm starving. While I eat his heart, I want his children. Praise be to Allah. That's classic Mike. Mike is a pretty good guy, from what I heard. Just a lot of stuff, especially with Don King. But again, also can't forget Mr. Michael Wright. He passed away a little bit earlier this year. Hayden Panettiere. I grew up watching The Five Heartbeat. My sisters love the movie. People go like, it's not Eddie King or Kang, it's Eddie King. We Southerners say it's King is saying the Southern way. Well, it sounds like it's Kang or King. Kang or King. It's called King because we take that A, we take that I and sound like an A about. But that it's Eddie King Jr. We kind of, as you know, from the South, we say things differently than y'all up north. So Pastor, it wasn't really him singing, that was somebody else. But hey, he just, he was good. Oh, give it up! Is there a heart? Is there a heart in the house tonight? Stand up, stand up. Let them know, whoa, whoa. My singing's not that good. Is a heart for love, and I know that it doesn't take much to bring Eat up. Mhm. Fill it up. I mean, I used to smell pretty good, but you know how a brain is. So, thank you folks for listening to me. Just come on here and just, shooting the shit with y'all. I appreciate the people who support my channel. Um, got an interview later today, the lovely Mrs. Christine, was Mrs. Christina Mary. She is a figure pro. She just did the Mass Fit, last week for last. I think you want to say at least week for last. Also, I think she's planning to do some shows. I think a couple of shows might be shows that I'll be going to. So I can't wait to meet her in person. I can't wait to meet any lady in person. It's a highlight. I'm going to be very, very, very kind of. I, I'm going to, try to be. I'm going to be trying very nice. I know that's like, especially some of the ladies are pretty ones too, and ones are real, I mean, if I get to hug some, I'm just excited, you know, see the smile on my face. I don't want to disappoint y'all. So, anyway, folks, I appreciate you for listening to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. This is Mel over George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't like, subscribe. Good luck, God bless, and I'll see y'all in Pittsburgh.